Hi guys, it's Alex Moffatt from the Disciples. Today here to present the deck I played at the remote RDYCS held in December this year, where I managed to get top 32 playing Tri-Lyrilusc. So I chose to play this deck because I feel like it's the strongest deck right now. I was previously playing Pendulums. That didn't go too well, obviously, you can imagine in this format. Quickly persuaded to jump onto this deck as a lot of the other team members were playing it, and I saw it as a no-brainer. You know, it obviously has crazy first turn boards, its ability to play a good amount of hand traps, so you don't just lose going second if the opponent does the same, and it just has great going second potential with cards like Zeus, easily obtainable. So I'm going to run you through the deck list, starting with the main deck. So first we have 3 Warbler, 2 Sparrow, 1 Wagtail, 3 Beryl, and 3 Cobalt. So not much to say about here. Fairly standard bird engine. The only thing of note is just that I'm playing the 1 Wagtail despite maining 3 Desires. So fairly risky, but I didn't see it as important enough to run 2 just because of the Desires factor. Then onto the Tri-engine. Not much to say about this. 3 Frac, 1 Nerval, 1 Karas, 1 Kit. So I'm not playing the oath in the main or the side, so it's less important to go through the usual oath line. That's all about that. And I'm playing just the 1 Avian. Obviously this hand is definitely glued to my hand. I feel like I drew this far too many times, but it's not the case for playing cards like this. So onto the hand traps then. So I play 10 in total, 3 Imperm, 3 Ash, 3 Vela, and then the 1 Crow. So pretty happy with this lineup, to be honest. I chose to play, for example, Vela over a more impactful one like Draw or Nib, because I felt I wanted enough kind of generic coverage across the board for something like a remote YCS, and to be honest I was really happy I played it. It was pretty much always live apart from my games against Eldritch, but I was happy playing this over something like Nib. And I was siding Nib, which we'll see in a second, but I just wanted that generic kind of cover for the first game. And the 1 of Crow really does outperform in this deck, you know, having that access to out DPE. One game which was a game 1 as well, where my only real out to DPE was top decking the Crow, and I did top deck the Crow, so I guess luck was on my side that game, but I really like the Crow. Then just for the rest of the main deck, which is just the spells, so 3 Desires. So yeah, I really like this in this deck. I think it's much better than Prosperity or anything, because just banishing those extra deck cards is really impactful, to be honest. A lot of the time, especially as you're not sure exactly what your route's going to be until you draw or reveal those extra cards. Obviously it has downsides, you know, banishing Apex, banishing the Wagtail, banishing Karas does suck, but it just fuels your hand so much better. It just, you know, baits the Ash, whatever you need it to do. And there's some hands where you don't even play it if you feel like you have a good enough hand to play through whatever hand traps come their way. Then rest of the spells, so obviously the 3 Bird Call and the 10 Key, just to, you know, consistency and whatever. And then last 2, 1 for 1, which did outperform a lot, to be honest. And then the kind of the flex spot, I guess, is the Cool Buyer play. So I just feel a lot more comfortable playing when I have this card in my hand for going first and for going second into, for example, DPE decks. Obviously the draw was fairly common despite not actually that many people playing it at the remote, I found, but at least in the main deck. But it definitely, my hand was always better with this in it. And then on to extra decks. So for the Xyz, we've got the 2 Starling, 1 Nightingale, and then 1 of the Robins. So again, fairly standard. I didn't play 3 of these. I'll show you the kind of, again, the flex spot card that I chose to play later on, but I don't think there was any games really where I needed the 3rd, so I was happy with not having to play it. And obviously Utopia package, really strong. Zeus package, really strong. I feel like you say that about every card in this extra deck. Tries, we've got the 1 Ferrigit and the 2 Charade. Very happy playing 2 Charade, it comes up a lot. And then the DDL, so I actually, most of the time, but especially going first, unless I needed to, I didn't summon this card, so I prefer to hold the Trial, the Karas in hand just for next turn, and just have the Robin, Samorg, Apex, and Sunbold board, just because I feel like they're strong enough, and I like having at least 2 cards in hand to push through for next turn, or if I get rooted, for example, not playing oath. So less committed to kind of making that big board using all of my resources. I'd rather save that 1 or 2 card extra, but still, outperforms going second a lot really well. Then obviously standard ones, so some more and Salomon Great, and then the flex spot, which I chose to play, was the Doom Eagle. So I'll say it right now, I didn't summon it once in the tournament. However, when I was playing at locals, the locals I went 0-2 at before the event, it did come up twice, and I wouldn't have gone 0-2 if I had this at my extra deck at the time. The scenarios that kind of relate to like those weird kind of hands when you're trying to link climb into a charade, and you have like 3 cards in your grave, and you just want to get there quicker. And this would have been the best link free to summon in most scenarios, and obviously its effect is actually quite relevant against stuff like DPE, PKs with the traps, summoning the monsters, whatever. I still actually am happy I played this card, although I think Win probably is better. I definitely still rate this card highly. And last but not least, side deck. So kind of the going first package. So taking out the less relevant hand traps for the matchups, and most likely putting these in, sometimes putting talents in going second. And as we know, if everyone who watched the stream over the weekend, this is obviously the best card in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. And then kind of the extra hand traps when I'm going second in things like the mirror, so the 2 nibs and the 3 gammas. Gammas really performed well this weekend. Like I can think of 2 times I drew it where I did have 1 or 2 hand traps, but the gamma was enough to make them pass. Really strong. And then for the back row hate, so we've got 1 reboot, the 1 duster, and then the 3 cosmics. So just I wanted to have these over stuff like storms or evenlies, non-evenlies, because I wanted to hold the battle phase for Zeus potential. And then I preferred these over storms because I feel like there was enough decks that wouldn't side loads of traps, but would side enough that would end the game basically if I didn't have an out. So stuff like Invoke DPE, where they have that there can only be 1. A lot of the going second cards that when you make them go first, going second deck, sorry, when you make them go first, they'll side in like a floodgate or something. I just wanted to have like the card that could deal with a lot of things in different scenarios, rather than just being those blowout cards you have to activate before you make your play, such as Storm and Evenly. And they did all really well perform. I did play 2 Eldritch. Sure, if I had Storm, perhaps it would have been more of a blowout, but I was holding the Cosmics for the floodgates every time, and it was working perfectly. So yeah, really happy with these choices for the back row decks. And yeah, that's it. So a few shout outs obviously to everyone in the team. Fortunately, I was the only one to actually make it to the start of this round, despite a few others saying they'll play. But either way, I was happy to attend. All of my opponents, to be honest, were really safe to play against, especially after what I heard about remote duels and how how unfun they can be. So shout outs to all of my opponents I played for being great sports. And shout outs to our sponsors, Metamats, the Brotherhood, Card Market, and lastly shout outs to Ziz, if you know kind of thing. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, drop a subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment, and we'll see you guys in the future.